I thought for tonight, being that it's Super Bowl Sunday on Sunday, that you could just let us know what your plans are, and if your plans are not to watch the game at all, that is totally acceptable. Just what you plan to do for the Super Bowl. If you're cheering for a team, or if you're just watching it for the commercials, or whatever the case might be. So I'll go ahead and get started. So I'm Todd Weller with Cross IT. I've been using FileMaker since version 6. And no offense, Paul, but I am only cheering against Tom Brady. I don't care who wins as long as it's not Tom Brady, because he's broke Steelers' hearts enough time. He doesn't need it. So I guess we'll just go with upper right corner or upper left corner as far as I see them. So I guess Thomas and Teresa, you're up.
I have to unmute too.
You should unmute if you want to use I'm here to teach. So your mic should be on if you want to use your mic. Thomas from Profile Developers. Yeah, I hate to be negative about anything, but I'm kind of rooting against Tom Brady too. For the same reason.
Yeah, and I will second that. So everything but substitute Thomas for Teresa in that in that variable.
All right, very good. Okay, Paul, you're up.
My name is Paul Sprague. I work for Quad Graphics. It's a big printing company based in Wisconsin. I'm on the Connecticut shoreline, and I appreciate the invitation to come and join you guys. We have a local user group here for FileMaker, but this one's a little wider ranging. And I do not take any offense about Tom Brady. We don't have TV, so I'm not even sure who's playing. Usually I'll watch the game with my dad, but COVID and I don't know. Somebody will probably tell me who won. That's as far as it goes for me. Sorry.
All right. Okay, Tim.
I'm Tim Bulwark. I live in Central Ohio, Columbus area. I thank you for letting me attend your Pittsburgh group. I'm a newbie to FileMaker and just learning all about it, and getting mentoring from a friend of a friend in Phoenix. I don't know if you guys know the name Kirk Rhinelander. Anyways, he's been mentoring me, and like I said earlier to the people who arrived early, I just landed a part-time job teaching at the Ohio State University. It starts in March, but I'm new, and I'm just appreciate that you let me attend, and I really hope to learn a lot. And I'm a Packer fan first, being from Wisconsin. You can tell from my accent probably, and I'm a Steelers fan second. Rocky Bleier went to school at my wife's high school in Appleton, so that's why I'm a Steeler fan second. But I'm not a Tom Brady fan. So I'll go with Todd. Anyone but him.
All righty. Okay, Ken.
Hi, my name's Ken Hallinan. I still work at Carnegie Mellon until next month. I have to go along with other people, everybody but Brady, or anybody but Brady. It's harder down here since Tampa Bay is only an hour away, but nevertheless, I still can't root for the guy. So.
All right. Okay, Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura from Cross IT. And honestly, I'm so disconnected from football or most sports that I hardly even know when Super Bowl is, except for on some Sunday. So, don't know. Don't care.
All righty. Okay, Kim.
hello, I am Kim Coles. I work for a national plumbing supply company. I've been using FileMaker since about version 9. And I'm with Laura. Like I used to follow the games, but I haven't in the last couple of years. So I didn't even realize the Super Bowl was this Sunday either. So, so that's it.
Okay. All right. Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth Latta from IT Solutions. It's only been 7.5 years and I still have to remember the name of my company. They're near Philly, but I work from home in Pittsburgh. So I've been doing this for 31 years. And yeah, the Steelers aren't in the Super Bowl, so I really don't care.
Okay. All right. Dennis.
You're muted, Dennis.
How about now?
We can hear you.
All right, I got new hardware, new software, and I'm trying to put it all together, and it's been a lot of fun trying to get that done. I'm Dennis Brennan. I'm from outside of Philadelphia, and I know IT Solutions, so you've worked with my old company. And Paul, I'm also formerly from the printing industry and pre-press. I've been working with FileMaker, I think probably from version 1. It's hard to remember. I think I started with HyperCard, then went to Panorama, and then I went to FileMaker. I've only actually been really into it probably last 6-7 years. And I write a lot of databases for my fire company and for my dive rescue team.
Okay.
I really don't care who wins the Super Bowl. I watch it for the commercials.
Okay. And then I know, Cheryl, you had chatted your response, but I don't know if you want to chime in with anything else. Okay, looks like Cheryl's good. So, okay, I guess we can go ahead and dive into our, I guess, like I said, just a roundtable discussion. I realize it's already February and not January, but I thought we could talk about our either technology in general or specific to FileMaker New Year's resolutions. So I don't know if anybody has something they just want to dive in and offer up.
Well, I'll dive in. First, Dennis, I want to say I miss HyperCard. That was cool. HyperCard was cool. Okay. So I did watch your Lunch and Learn, Laura, and so I've been playing around with the add-ons, trying to do some of those. So,
Nice.
So I did, so like I did a little bit before, but I saw your Lunch and Learn that you guys did regarding that, so that was cool.
Cool.
So thank you.
No, not a problem. Glad you like.
Yeah. Has anybody else played around with Lunch and Learns or Lunch and Learns add-ons? That's what I meant to ask.
Not yet, but it's on our radar.
Yeah, actually, there's one called Easy Draw that I implemented in that home inspection app that I've shown over the years, because they're adding a new type of inspection and the inspectors want to be able to kind of just do a property outline on a grid, like grid paper. So I found an add-on called Easy Draw. It's a company somewhere in, I'm not sure if it's Belgium, I forget the company. You did have to pay for it, but I think that's fair because they wrote all the code and it's a one-time purchase, and then you have it fully unlocked and can do whatever you want with it, dissect it, learn from it, and so on. And I even had a question about how to change the line width, because I am not a programmer. I don't know JavaScript and all kinds of CSS and different things like that. So they emailed with me and pointed me in the right direction. They were really great, but it's very cool that you just pop this into your solution, and now you can, attach it to a container field, one that exists or just a new one for this purpose. And you can draw with a stylus or your finger on a touch device. You can use the mouse if it's on the desktop, and it saves the image. And it also saves the JSON that creates the image so that you can edit it. You basically stick the JSON into a text field and the image into the container. But then if you want to edit it, it just reloads the add-on with the JSON, and then you can change it and save it. So it's super, super cool. I love what people can do that I can learn from.
That is very cool.
It's called
When
Easy Draw.
When you purchase it, do you get an unlocked version, or is it a add-on kind of that's locked?
You know what? It was a couple of weeks ago, and I've slept since then. Hang on, let me look it up real quick. I believe it was a file that was like a sample file, an unlocked sample file. And let me just double check that I'm correct. Was it just the add-on or was it the file? I cannot remember. I know that all the elements were editable. I believe
there is a free trial available for it.
Yeah, that's what it was. The demo file is a free trial, and then if you unlock it, you can completely get under the hood.
Okay. Now you said it's a one-time fee, but it's probably like if you were going to do it for a different company, you would have to purchase it again for use on that project.
There's no licensing.
Wow.
I bought it and I can use it for anybody I want. They're charging for the, I guess for, their time to create it. I mean, I think that's nice. They could be doing it as licensing and, require you to purchase it for every user, but I don't know how that's really sustainable anyway, if it's all unlocked, because once you have it unlocked, what is to keep you compliant?
True.
So.
Okay. Very cool. Anyone else use any other add-ons? Okay. Well, I guess that kind of leads into one of my New Year's resolutions is I'm determined to learn just enough JavaScript to be dangerous.
Yeah, that's my goal too.
Yes, I think a couple years ago, I think it's Udemy. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. udemy.com has a lot of like online resources for learning, and one of their JavaScript classes was like on sale for $10 or $15 or something. So
yeah, Udemy it's pronounced. Yeah, they're pretty
Academy.
Good. Yeah. Also, I think the Geist has or someone out there has a whole free getting up learning package for JavaScript.
Yeah, it's Geist.
Yeah. Of course, now I guess it's called Proof
Geist.
Plus the Geist, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The plus is silent, I guess.
So has anybody else started trying to learn JavaScript?
Of course, being a newbie, I'm just trying to learn FileMaker. One question I got, and this might not be the right time for everyone, is I'm still struggling with relationships. if anyone has any can point me anywhere where I could read something and get up to speed, I haven't had that aha moment yet.
My wife is still waiting for me to have that aha moment.
Yeah, when I was in college, my last year, I was in engineering, electrical engineering at Michigan Tech, and my wife, I was married, and she about 4 weeks into this semester, all of a sudden the aha would hit, and could get so excited. But I haven't had that yet on the relationship understanding here.
I mean, I'm sure there's resources out there, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, there's some, you know, I'd look up some blog articles by, and I don't know of a specific one. I'm just, John Mark Osborne, who does databasepros.com. And,
Nightwing used to do it. Right?
Nightwing, will they have blog entries?
I don't remember.
And any sample files that you can look at, just dig through the back end of them. But if you want to have move forward quickly, you know, do a one-on-one conversation with someone, me or Todd or something like that. I'm happy to talk to you for, you know, a half hour about it.
Okay,
if that'll help.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit struggling in this area. So I'm great at, I'm getting all of the nuances of layouts and hiding things and real fancy looking, you know, portals and all of that. I'm getting that down really good. But when it comes to relationships, my head is still scratchy.
How did you choose FileMaker as a tool to learn?
Years ago, I helped a friend of mine. I besides my background in electrical engineering and I have a degree in computer science too, I was a project manager involved with PMI for years, and I helped a friend start a web hosting business back about 2009, and we bought it then to kind of manage all of our sales, you know, what we were doing, sales prospects and all of that. Actually, I started using Bentos and then, you know, converted it. But I hadn't touched it for a number of years. And then just right before COVID hit, I got into a in-between contract type stuff, and so started picking it up. And like I said, that Kirk Rhinelander, I've been doing 3 or 4 applications for him. One creating a license management tool. Also, I created for him a tool that would collect all the knowledge he had put into, you know, out there on Trello or whatever, and pull it all into a database, that kind of stuff. So that's basically my background. But my thought was I wanted to get up to speed on this to be able to just, you know, do it part-time as I get into, you know, retiring more, keep me out of trouble.
Oh, I think you're still muted there, Dennis.
It's that new equipment.
All right. Yes. All right. So, Tim, if you unmute me, if you look up Guy Stevens on YouTube, he has a number of videos on relationships. He goes very fast, so you got to kind of slow him down, go back.
Okay.
And he'll kind of give you a number of scenarios with relationships. And he does a pretty good job of explaining it, but he'll help you get familiar with it, and he'll help kind of figure out what your next step is, where you need to learn.
Okay.
And he'll throw out a couple of different concepts, so at least you kind of know, all right, I need to look at this concept or look at that concept.
And his name is Guy Stevens?
Yeah, GUI Stevens.
Okay. I'll check
And
it.
usually his videos are pretty short.
Okay, I'll check it
There's a
out.
lot of them.
Thanks.
And that's a very good suggestion because you can go back and watch, anything that he moves quickly on. But and also don't get caught up in YouTube videos that explain relationships in other languages. FileMaker's unique. And while there's some crossover, FileMaker does some stuff that other programs don't do when it comes to relationships, weird things. So it's better to stick with FileMaker examples, like Guy Stevens. It's a good option.
Okay. Yeah, I found it here. He's got.
Hey, you guys, this is Guy Stevens. I have just built an entire FileMaker system
Whoa.
and I've recorded.
There it was. I found it.
And he'll be muted the rest of the time.
Yeah, I'll mute it.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
My resolution is I need to start playing with FileMaker server. I'm very familiar with up to 16, but then when they switched over, I no longer worked for that company and I no longer really needed to work with server. So I've been very busy making many databases and still not quite know if I
Hey,
need
Dennis,
server.
I'm having trouble hearing you. Are you other guys having trouble
No,
hearing you?
no, Dennis, you weren't muted.
Oh, okay.
You were just really, really quiet.
Yeah, I think your volume on your input.
Yeah, that's all right. How's that?
That's better.
Okay. So I haven't played with anything above server 16. And so I haven't actually got to play with the new interface because of what I've been doing. I haven't really needed server, but that's on my goal to play with and learn.
So I understand server is a whole new world compared to the client side.
And Dennis, when you go to the news, if you're not from the interface for the server looks so much different than 16. So
Nope, you're muted again.
Okay. When it says mute, I'm mute. Now you can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Yes, I know the interface is totally different, and that's why I wanted to play with it. I'm very familiar with 16 and down, but
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to play with on up.
Okay. It's actually I find it well I'm doing FileMaker server 18 right now, and I found that there's things that work so much better than what they did in 16 and 14, because I was just used to keep doing 16, but then we finally made the jump from 16 to 18, and it's a lot. It's not so cumbersome when you're trying to, like, we do some custom web publishing, so sometimes I have to turn that off and turn it back on. And also if you're trying to kick some clients off, because even though you told them I'm rebooting the server, they still don't disconnect, that type of thing. So yeah, I really like the interface. Once you get used to it, I really like it a lot better than the old one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would add, though, is that there's a few things that they took out of the interface, and the only way to do them now is you have to get into the command line. And it's like that, to me, there's some of the things you have to change via the command line. It's like a step backwards.
Right.
It's like, why is this not in the admin console where it seems like it should be? But so just be prepared for that. But like, so once you learn, the few commands you'll need, it's pretty straightforward. So
Good.
I don't know if anybody else feels that same way or not, but
There's a couple things. One of the things that the old server used to do was, you know how you could tell the script to send you a message after it ran, you can't enable that. Like that's not there anymore. So I guess, who was it? No, I forget who it was. They did a session a couple years ago on I think it was called Zabbix, which is a server monitoring solution. And so basically you can point it at any type of server to get feedback from it, and then so I keep meaning to look into it and set that up, but I haven't yet. Just to get that kind of feedback that certain scripts were running, and you know, making sure that things were finishing without having to wait for an email from somebody else, like a client, or digging into server logs and trying to find more information.
Yeah, because that's what I've found, because it's really good at sending emails if there's an error, but like if the backup schedule ran successfully, you know, it's crickets, you know, which would be nice to get, you know, positive confirmation. Anybody else have something they plan on learning in the new year?
I'm on the same boat with you, Todd, learning about JavaScript, because I know enough about, you know, just enough HTML and CSS stuff to overcomplicate some reports, you know, just to be able to throw stuff into a web viewer and deal with that. But want to be able to implement more, you know, using JavaScript to build things out of JSON objects and utilize the web viewer more. And then, yeah, the add-ons with the JavaScript pieces, doing like all of that new stuff that I only tend to force myself to learn things when I have to, not when I want to. So
Yeah.
I know another thing I'd like to try to at least understand a little bit better is the data API. You know, because I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've done is just like, it's a black box, so I'm trusting that it's going to work. I just would like to, you know, understand it a little bit more, just to know, you know, sometimes you don't have to know how stuff works, but in this case, I would like to know.
I agree with you. I would like to learn more on the FileMaker API. I've done some stuff actually, you know, for a credit card processing company, and actually even Zoom does an API. And, you know, so I've done like that, but I haven't done any APIs in FileMaker. I think there's a Slack API, and so I would like to incorporate Slack into our the Easy Pro that I built, the extra add-on feature that I built. Does anyone use Slack API?
No.
Whole thing about it. I think Cranston did something with Slack API. I remember from several years ago that at one of the Bakery Square meetings, he showed up and was showing off his FileMaker to Slack workflow for, I think, client tickets. So
Oh, that's right. I do remember him doing that.
yeah, so somebody over there probably. I mean, the API stuff, we've done a tiny little bit with the data API, but one of the things that I found was a useful tool in that was playing around with Postman. And I don't know if any of you have used that, but it's the kind of thing where it's like it's another little mountain that you have to climb up of trying to figure out what the heck you're looking at first. Because if you're not a web person, then everything in Postman doesn't make any sense. So once you figure out what you're looking at there, you can plug in some of your queries, and you know where to put in like your header requests, and you can build what you need to, and then jam it into FileMaker variables and be able to get the responses back that you expect. So there's a bunch of little bits and pieces to play around with, but I think that Postman is a good thing to download to help in that endeavor, just to get responses and test your strings and test your like placement of your requests and things like that in order to get answers back.
And Postman was shown at a DevCon, so there's probably a video if you
And I
look through the
bet
DevCon
Steve
videos.
Winter did it
Steve Winter, that sounds right.
because he's like the web dude.
I remember I must have went to that session because I know I downloaded and played with it for a little bit, but that was a while ago, and I had to give that laptop back to CMU, and so I don't know that anymore.
Well, because you said post, that made me also think of MailChimp. I know it's not the same thing, but because you said post, it made me, so I'm trying to do an API for MailChimp. Anybody use MailChimp?
I will be working with the API for MailChimp for something soon. I'm a little behind on that project. So when I get like, my arms deep into it, I will let you know. And, and
Right,
give you some insight on our experience. So far, I think all I've done is plugged in some credentials and got a ping back, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, that's the first part. And but yeah, when I get into it, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wasn't MailChimp one of those things that was in the
Claris Connect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we aren't using it.
Oh, is it? Oh. Oh.
So Slack.
Is anybody using Claris Connect or have plans to use it?
We probably have plans to use it that we don't know about yet.
Well, it only works with cloud though, right?
Claris Connect only work with cloud, or does it work with server on?
I don't know. I don't actually use it either.
Yeah, because I thought the Claris Connect product lives out in the cloud. I didn't know if it would connect to
I think it will.
FileMaker cloud only, or if it you can get to it from anywhere as long as you have a.
I would think it's anywhere, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it is. I knew I wasn't involved in it, but I knew Eric has set it up for our sister company, push like contact information. Actually, I think into MailChimp, I think is what they're using.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some weird issue that like because it's not something that happens all the time. So whenever they're ready to push out a batch, they'll have to let him know, and he'll have to go in and click a button and kind of like reset it for it to work. And we've actually gone back and forth with FileMaker tech support on it, and nobody's really been able to give us a satisfactory answer as to why it occasionally just stops working. But I know it definitely does connect to, an on-premise server, because that's where the data for the sister company lives. So.
Okay.
But the issue is specifically MailChimp oriented.
As far as I know, it's only MailChimp, but that's really the only. I mean, we have grand plans to use it all over the place, but that's really the only connector that we're using is, FileMaker to MailChimp. So. Oh, and if anybody's interested, I found data APIs for roller coasters and for Marvel Comics. So that's what I'm playing around with to try to learn data APIs. So
you're trying to send information to the roller coaster to control it?
Well, I don't think it does that. It's more about to feed my app with all the information. So
I'm trying to make the cornering speed faster.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of, I think that the possibilities are endless when you start getting into the data APIs. It's just a matter of it's like each one has their own little nuances that you got to really understand before you can begin to use it. And I think that's where it's a little bit tougher. So.
Yeah, working directly with, I did something with the Stripe API, and I had I watched a video by
Isn't it productive computing?
Productive Computing, I think. And man, was that a well spent, whatever it was, $50 or $100 or something like that. There's a number of times that they say, okay, and here's what the API says. This is wrong. They know it's wrong, but they haven't updated it. So you're going to run into problems unless you do it this way. And it's like, it would have taken me hours to, to overcome little things like that.
Wow.
So going with Claris Connect probably would have resolved it as well. So.
I mean, I guess it's a related topic, but I don't, because I know there's also the FileMaker admin console API. So I don't know if, some of the shortcomings of, the reporting and things that, server no longer does, if there was a way to, incorporate that into something that would be, useful. Does anybody want to look into that and get back to us next week or next?
Well, I thought there were a couple people I thought who didn't they create some products or like free downloads right after the new interface came out? There were a couple people who were like, oh, we created this thing that does some of the reporting that's missing.
Oh, that's right. There are.
That you just, I forgot what they were.
Yeah. I think you're probably, because it would probably be like a marketplace product or something now, I would imagine.
Yeah, at the time there were either 2 or 3, and everything was free and unlocked. That was available a little over a year ago. So they might still be out there and updated.
Well, so does anybody have a New Year's technology resolution outside the world of FileMaker? Like just technology in general, besides trying to score a PlayStation 5? I don't know if that counts or not, but.
Well, I'm trying to figure out why my Roku TV will not play the Wonder Woman 84 movie. It's all laggy, but every other thing plays just fine. So explain that one.
Did Linda Carter have a, maybe she put something in there to
She not get a cameo.
license it?
She had a cameo in there, right? So maybe she had to slow it down so that she could watch it. I don't know.
I know all about laggy. I do a lot of online training for the fire company since the COVID, and I spent probably an hour and a half putting this intro together just for the first 30 seconds with the title of the presentation on there, of fire rolling in. It looks super cool. And I had this music to it. And as soon as I put it online with Teams, it went through.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I spent an hour and a half on this.
Uh-huh.
Oh my.
Rendering issues. They're a nightmare.
Yeah, I guess one of my non-FileMaker techie resolutions is that my son has an interest in doing video editing, and I think in the back of his mind he wants to be a YouTube star in 2 years or something. So he's been, prepping. He talks about his communities that he's going to target and things like that, and he's talking about content, but he hasn't made anything yet. So, but he's interested in animation and green screens and video editing and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, I used to teach that. That might be a good resource for this. So if it's not too not cool for me to help him, I want to try to help him learn about video editing and green screening and different applications and all that good stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's something about teaching your kids that just seems sometimes to be hard.
That's because they stop listening after the first 7 seconds,
Yeah.
I don't know if they just don't believe us that we know.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not all we know.
Well, my boys, their brains didn't fully come in till about 27.
It's
Yeah, but I seem to remember that old thing, like when your parents said someday you're gonna have a kid just like you.
Yeah. God forbid. Yeah.
Nowadays, they got cameras everywhere. Can't get away with anything.
It's true.
Sometimes I feel bad. I tell my kids how much better they are than me. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be telling you this.
Well, to Dennis's point, we did things, but they weren't recorded and put on Facebook or in YouTube and everything. So
That is true.
yeah, we didn't have. Yeah, we did all kinds of stuff.
Thank
But
God.
I would get really mad at my kids if they did it. So
Didn't get thrown out of school for a solo cup.
Yeah.
Oh. So one of my non-FileMaker technology things would be home automation. I have a number of, like, we have listening devices, like I don't want to say any of their names because they're in this room.
Listening.
But we have those. We have smart lights and smart outlets and things like that. And I want to learn how to properly do it, to say watch TV and it turns the right things on and the right things off,
Yeah.
instead of doing it very, mishmash the way we're doing it now. I can't think of a non-vulgar word to say. So
There was a video I saw on line, I think it was yesterday, of a little girl holding an Alexa and saying, "Alexa, play supercalifragilisticexpialidocious." And she was just getting so frustrated with it. It was so funny.
That was a good video.
Ours picked that up.
I can hear it in the background.
now she's playing and she Dick Van Dyke and
this past year we did we have a lot of home automation, and we've changed the thermostat to I used to have Nest. We changed it to Ecobee, I think it's called, which works with HomeKit. And that is nice. And I have a HomePod. I've had a HomePod for a few years, but I got a little mini one so I have in my bedroom. And it's so nice if you start getting cold in the middle of the night. I just have to yell out, "Hey Siri!" Oh, sorry.
She's listening.
Hey, you. I have a guy's voice, and he just said, "Wait, there's something you wanted to." The funny thing, I was on a call at work, and I think I said, "Hey, whatever," and because mine is a male's voice, and my boss was like, "Oh, wait, you have someone over there?" He's like, "No, that's Siri, that's whatever," and he's like, "Well, I don't care if you have anybody over." I'm like, I was like, no, it's just my HomePod. But I do like the mini. That man, that is coming really in handy. And as few of you know, that I have some physical challenges, so having the being able to turn on the lights and the thermostat and even I got one of those I think it's called View. It's a camera from Logitech, I think. So I have that pointed out. I mean, I have it on the front window, but inside. So, but I do have a ring too on my side door. But I have this View camera I have sitting on my. Yeah, I can't think of it. Windowsill. Sorry, I lost my brain there. So it's sitting on the windowsill, and So that way I can look out, hey, is it snowing? Is there somebody in the front yard? You know, but I don't, but my ring is like battery. So I didn't want to like keep looking at my ring because it's not hardwired in. But but yes, I reckon if you don't have your thermostat on there yet, that's nice too.
The
Yeah, we have a-
problem
we
with
have
the
a nice-
Ring door,
Sorry.
the problem with the Ring doorbell is you can set it to sense things. And I had it set to just over my front stoop to the sidewalk. Well, this fall there was a squirrel that would come back and forth all the time to plant its nuts behind the bushes, and it would go off. I'd hear it on my iPhone, you know, like every 15 minutes, so I had to readjust it.
Oh, the problems we have.
Well, that's why I don't have the ring anymore on my front door, because when cars were going by, it was going off all the time. So I have just on my side door, which is where I have my packages delivered and things like that. And that's why I decided to get the one that plugs in, the Logitech one, because it has better settings than the ring, I thought. It's a different purpose. It's for a different purpose too. So.
Anybody have anything else?
I have one that completely different kind of thing. It's called Roost, ROOST. And they're these little egg-shaped, they're flat, but they're, oval shaped. And they're water and humidity detectors that go onto the internet.
Yep, I have the same thing.
Yeah, they work great. So you stick them in the basement or whatever, or next to the water heater. And if you get a leak, it tells you.
And the best part is my insurance company gave them to me for free.
Wait.
The home insurance people recommended them since we were going to have this be unattended when we first bought the house. So that way it would tell you, So I had some alerts last summer when the temperature in the garage was over 95 or whatever. So, I guess I'll know to look forward to that this year. But
So we installed a Flow by Moen, which is a tracks the water usage that coming into your house, and it takes, I don't know, 600 tests a second or something like that. So it detects if you have any kind of leaks anywhere, if water's been running too long. So when my son takes a shower, until we talk to him about it, right. I would get an alert saying there's unusual water activity. You might have a leak, and we're gonna and they call and they say we're gonna shut off your water in 5 minutes because it's on the internet and you can actually have the water turned off. Which I've had leaks, not in this house but in another house where a pipe burst, and I had the police contact me that there was water coming out the back of my building, to give permission to the fire department to go and shut off. But this seems a lot simpler. And to catch it a lot sooner.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
The simplest way to get your water turned off is just don't pay the bill.
Just takes them a long time. So it can detect small leaks and big leaks, and if if your toilet's running, I get an alert, and it's we live in a weird time. It's kind of interesting.
And I just have to say, since my son why do guys, I'm sorry, take showers so long? Why do I don't understand that, but that's a side note.
How old is your son?
27, but he's been doing that for many, many years. I don't know what it is. And I'm thinking, how much do you need your hair? He has very short hair. How much do you need to wash in there? So But we'll leave it go at that.
You need to get one of these automatic shut-off valves that shuts it off after 15 minutes or 5 minutes or something.
At least the
Yeah,
hot water.
I work for a plumbing company. I have ways, but there's also, when you do something like that, there's also consequences or maybe ramifications. Let's put it that way. Ramifications when you do something like that. When the person that lives with my son is the one that goes shopping for me, so, so
Nope,
I don't
we're
want
out
to
of
get him
that.
too mad. I don't want to get him too mad that he doesn't want to pick up my lawn, pick up my groceries. So
Well, I told my 27-year-old son that by the time he's 30, he needs to be out of the house.
That was 40 years ago.
Yeah, well, different time.
yeah, I yes, I have a different. You don't know me, so I have a different situation. But yes, believe me, there's times I wish he didn't live here.
But have any more resolutions, or does anybody have one more thing? Since we're
My
getting close to the 8 o'clock.
resolution is to make money doing FileMaker by the end of this calendar year. At least beer money.
That ought to be doable.
I hope so, but we'll see. You notice my Lambeau Field up behind me there? My picture of Lambeau Field.
It's a little blurry.
Okay, yeah, I definitely see the banners. So
And the wedge of cheese.
well, I guess I don't. It's not a resolution, but I do have a question. It actually just popped up today. It was a file for our sister company layout that was, I don't know when it was built, but it was shortly after FileMaker allowed you to put the SVG icons inside buttons and things like that. So there's buttons on this particular layout. If you open it up in 19, the icons are gone, or it looks like they're like way oversized. But if you look at it and open it up in FileMaker 18, the layout looks fine. And I was just wondering if anybody has, I mean, we're still investigating, but since it just happened, I figured, and we were meeting tonight, I'd ask to see if anybody's run into that before.
We haven't seen that, and we do use, some of our stuff is from, 14 and pre-14 that we switch over, but we haven't come across that yet.
No.
Sorry.
Well, some of the old stuff doesn't have icons
Yeah,
on
well,
buttons. So.
yeah.
Todd, are they custom SVGs or are they native to FileMaker?
They are not native to FileMaker, so we don't know if maybe if there's something strange going on there.
I know there's a couple lines of code that you have to put in certain things to make them change colors and stuff like that. Maybe you can look at them and see if some tag in the SVG is missing.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said, we hadn't, I mean, nobody has complained about it, so we don't know if it's just the one user that reported it or other people have run into it and they just haven't said anything, so we're not sure even how long it's been going on. Because, I mean, it's not a classic theme layout. It's at least, I think it's like the cool gray was the default layout. So there is some theming, but the buttons themselves don't have a specific style. It's just, the default style that's been modified and things like that. So it was just very bizarre.
And Geist Interactive, I think, has a tool to fix SVGs. It might be worth, dropping them in there and replacing them on the layout.
Okay.
Is that the tool that basically puts the class function in there so that they can be color can be, properties can be changed and so on.
I believe that's what it's for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it adds a little bit of code to the.
Yeah, that's
the
the one that you
SVG.
gotta. If you take Illustrator and you make an SVG, you gotta add that class code so you can colorize them.
Okay.
All right. Well, it looks like Laura just shared the link out in the chat, so I'll make sure I include that in the email for the follow up so that everybody has it, just in case you ever need to fix up an SVG icon. So all right. Well, so that's my one more thing. So does anybody else have one more thing?
I upgraded to Big Sur, and
Oh,
FileMaker 912 is still working. So that was.
oh. How do you like that?
I literally upgraded today. It took longer than I expected. So I dusted my shelves and cleaned my office instead. So, I mean, Zoom's running on it, but I literally installing it and running Zoom is all I've done. So I don't know if I like it or not.
Thomas, I got a question then. I upgraded to Big Sur and FileMaker 2, or FileMaker I have running the latest version, 19. But I have, when I go into the edit layouts and the right pane dialog boxes, when you go into the third one from the left or the second one from the right with the paintbrush stuff and so on, it doesn't, when I get to an object that I select, that I can then go and change like the corner radius and so on, there's supposed to be like a circle, and it doesn't show up on my screen. It's like it's missing. You follow where I'm talking about?
Yeah, I just opened it up and dropped an object on.
So when you I have an object that's just a rectangle, and well, no, that's a button bar actually, a button bar. But when you click on it, you'll see on that third panel, it'll be it shows themes, then graphics.
Yep, I got it. I know exactly. I can see it now. So
And
yeah, same
the
issue.
graphics where the corner radius is.
Yeah.
I can't see the I can see dots on the four corners.
Right.
But I can't see anything else.
So that's I have the same thing here. I didn't notice because I haven't used that yet. But yeah, same issue. So it's I'll send a note to FileMaker about it, or sorry, Claris. I'll send a note to Claris about it.
Well, the other issue too that you might have, I don't know if you see, if you go up on the top left, if you're in layout mode and you're on your top left, way on the left, just below the three dots, way on the left, I got new layout / report button, and then I got the go right, go left buttons, and then I got the buttons that showed the layouts, and like whether you're in if it's a found set, it'll show found set, but this shows layouts that I got 21 layouts total. Well, the icon for the go to previous layout or go to next layout is half cut off.
Tim, I don't think that's a bug. Back in the day when I worked for tech support with a software company, and we partnered with Microsoft, and when I called them about a bug, they said, "We don't have bugs." I said, "What do you mean you don't have bugs?" He goes, "We don't have bugs. We have unimplemented, non-document, undestructive features."
So anyways.
So that one I'm not seeing.
Can I share my screen, or would that be too much?
Sure, go. Yeah, sure.
I need to get you Todd to let me do it.
Yeah. You got it. It's
Now nobody's
work in a
a
moment.
big spur.
There's nothing on here that. Okay, it's right up. You see it right up here?
Yeah.
Or am I not zoomed out enough?
No, I see where you're at.
Right here, it's like partially cut off.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not. That is not how mine displays.
Okay. And even if I go full screen, it still shows up partially cut off there.
Yeah.
That may have to do with your system font, and they may be using a font to draw that. I'm not sure.
Okay. And then the other one that I described is right here on this corner radius.
Yeah, mine looks exactly like what you show.
You don't see the circle, the half circles. You just see a dots here.
Right.
You know, so something's not showing there.
Does anything appear if you actually add a number? Like, can you use the?
Yeah. No, it looks on mine. It looks the same whether you have numbers in there or not.
Well, if I hang on.
Yeah.
If I put 25,
I noticed
I
that.
can round it here
You know,
by clicking on the little dots. But in your normal, in the previous ones,
Right,
it
you
would
can
show up here as a
control which
half
corner.
circle.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't show up as anything there.
Yeah, no, that's definitely different.
So I don't know if that's a Big Sur or you know,
Definitely a
kind of a
Microsoft feature.
problem. But I noticed that one, and then I mean I can get around it. I can click on the little corner pieces, but it just I have to zoom real in to look at it in detail. But and then this one up here just looks to me like they have two overlaying things. So
I can't remember because you said, Thomas, you said you're on 19.1.2.
Whatever the passcode was for Zoom, that's what version I'm on.
no, he's saying your pro version.
Oh, I'm sorry, 19.2. My bad. 19.2.114.
Yeah, that's what I'm on, the latest. But
I thought it would have been corrected with that version. So.
Yeah.
well, they just came out yesterday with a patch for. They just came out with a new version of Big Sur, a patch.
Right.
And I thought that would have corrected some of it, but you know, I'm almost wondering if my buttons over here are just too close or something.
Well, the button on that settings screen looks exactly the same with the kind of cut off right edge.
Yeah, you're right. It does, doesn't it?
So on Thomas's machine, none of the buttons had outlines, and all of your buttons have a little outline around all of them.
Part of that, I think, is because on his machine, under utility or under your system setting here, you where's under display. I don't think it's display. There's a place where you can set more or less contrast.
Right. So I'm thinking because his also had like kind of a transparency behind the.
Yeah, if you take all of the contrast completely off, then none of these have.
Yeah, that must be the default because I haven't done anything.
Yeah, I had that originally, and then a friend of mine said, "Hey, put a little more contrast on. You could see the more details on them." But I don't know. I think part of it's Big Sur, probably, or some setting I don't have right. But anyways, just wanted to show you that. Stop sharing.
That is interesting.
I have in front of me I got a MacBook Pro. laptop, but I have in front of me a 40-inch screen,
Problem.
which is nice because I can sometimes when I'm working on software development, I can get 4 different, windows open at the same time. And it only costs like $229.
And it came with the stand.
Yeah, it's running 4K, and it's when I have to go and work on my laptop somewhere, it's like, ugh, I hate it.
Anybody else have one more thing?
I'll just
Okay.
say this is why I'm not an early adopter.
Pays to
Well,
be late to
because
the table.
because that's my job too. So I'm a Mac IT person. So that's if it does. I have 2 computers, and I did upgrade one at home I have 2 at home here. If you saw how much technology I have in this office, it would make you sick. But I did on my one iMac, I did Big Sur, because that's my testing to see what I'm going to have to update at work whenever we go into Big Sur. And there was a reason why, like at work, I did a purchase of, I think I told you guys, several iMacs. I got them before Big Sur came out because I was afraid that, all of a sudden something doesn't work. We use a lot of different software. I just had, but somebody was on Catalina, then our time clock wouldn't work on that person's computer. So there's a lot of different things you have to do. So that is why I'm not an early adopter. So.
Do most of you do your FileMaker development for Windows machines or Macs or both?
Mac.
Primarily Mac, but I have a lot of Windows clients too, so I really do both.
Same here.
Yeah, mix.
Yeah, but most of our clients use both.
Yeah.
All the stuff I have is just Windows.
That's another advantage.
I don't have any Macs anymore.
What did you say, Ken?
We don't have any Macs in our group anymore. It's all Windows.
Wow.
Hi, everybody. Just joined late. Heidi Porter.
Oh, good evening, Heidi. How are you doing tonight?
Everyone told a joke, and now it's your turn.
What was that?
Yeah, I guess if you want to jump in, our question that we asked tonight was what everybody's plans were for the Super Bowl this weekend, and pretty much everybody that's from the greater Pittsburgh area, we're rooting against Tom Brady. We're not actually rooting for anyone. We're only rooting against him. So I don't know if you have plans that are different or not.
Yeah, I guess I'd root against him. But Chris Moyer and I are both from Cleveland, so we were pretty happy for a couple games.
I would imagine so.
Yes.
Been a long time wandering the desert. You can't begrudge us that.
Yeah, the Browns had a good year.
Yeah,
Yes,
they almost beat
and they
Mahomes.
almost beat Kansas. Was it Kansas? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of rooting for the Chiefs because the Browns almost beat the Chiefs, and it had that targeting call been called, they probably would have beat the Chiefs. And so I sort of figure them as our proxy at this point because they're probably beatable by the Browns. And so great, go on, win the Super Bowl, and then that bodes well for the Browns next year. Anyway, that is my convoluted thinking on the topic.
Well, we'll accept that. So very nice. So anybody else have one more thing, either a question they want to ask or just insight they want to share with everybody? Okay, well, if you want to, I can go through the few slides that I have and everybody can have a chance to ponder, and then we can always revisit if anybody has a resolution they want to share, or I
Yeah.
guess if Heidi and Chris, if you guys want to chime in on that, some of us are going to learn JavaScript, use more add-ons, figure out how the API
Oh,
works.
interesting. A themed resolution.
Yeah.
Be a better
A
person.
geeky resolution for the year.
So
I would like to master the FileMaker file format so I can write to the file outside of FileMaker.
wow,
That's a big one.
that is a big one. Yeah. Probably Mr. Blackwell would be disappointed that nobody said we wanted to make sure we improve the security of our FileMaker solutions.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say it. We want to improve the security of our.
Yes. Yeah. Which he
or we
does
wanna-
have.
We want to be, yeah. I guess that would be a good resolution. I mean, just in general these days, it's not just improve the security of the FileMaker solutions. It's be aware and advise our clients, of the threat. It's not just in FileMaker, outside and around and everywhere. So it's a good resolution.
Yeah.
As well as our own security.
Let that be a warning to all you Ring and Alexis and Google users.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and dive in, and I'll just go through my few slides, and then if we can always come back for more discussion if people have thought of anything.
Yeah. I did have a couple of WIT-FM announcements, if I could say.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So on February 16th, we have a virtual meetup. It's going to be on the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. The next one is in March. It's March 8th. It's International Women's Day. So that's kind of a big thing that me and somebody else are planning. And then there's one in April on craft.m. As an add-on, which the last virtual meetup was on Dayback as an add-on. So it seems like a lot of companies that had these like products are like changing it to add-ons. But yeah.
Okay.
Just some virtual meetups to be aware of.
Okay. So just a little bit of shameless self-promotion. Cross has been doing a series of lunch and learns on each Wednesday of the month. So we've got our February slate on the 10th, 17th, and 24th at noon. If you want some more details on what we're covering this month, there's the link there. And if you ask a question or leave a comment, you have a chance to win lunch on us, as provided you like Panera Bread. So announcement number 2, there is can't remember when this came out, but there is a server update available, 19.2.1. There's a list of the few of the key enhancements. One is it supports Java 11 now. It does an in-place install. And then I haven't had a chance to test it yet, but I think the cool one is that if a client cancels a fine on a hosted file, it'll halt the process more quickly instead of the user waiting for minutes for it to finally stop.
That would be fantastic.
So I think we have plans to upgrade one of our dev servers just to test that out to see if it really does what's advertised. So, but you can check the release notes for all of the pertinent information and stuff like that. So, there's also a 19.2.1 update for Pro, which enhances the quick start experience. Adds a new feature to control plugin access between files via an extended privilege. And then there's obviously more stuff in the release notes. I just tried to pick out a few of the highlights there. And then the last one, as far as announcements go, you can find us both as a group on LinkedIn as well as a Slack channel. So they are members only groups. I used to say to keep out the riffraff from Cleveland, but now that Chris and Heidi are joining us, I can't say that anymore. So
You can still say that.
okay. But yeah, yeah, we're happy to have you guys joining us when your schedule permits. So yeah, just let Laura know, and she can make sure that you guys get connected to both of those if anybody would like to do that. So had a couple survey questions there at our last meeting there in December. We asked outside of FileMaker, which programming languages have you learned along the way? You can see there's, a few here and there, but the majority, and I don't know what this says about the average age of the group, that the majority of us learned BASIC at some point along the way.
Yeah.
There you have that. The other second question that we asked was just, with 6 months to evaluate the platform, what new features of 19 have provided the most benefit to you as either the user or the developer of the solution. Series shortcuts and the core ML were choices, but they did not get any love. But those are the ones there that got votes. And as you can see, the card window support in FileMaker Web Direct got a lot of love, as did the JavaScript integration. So, and then the last question that we asked was during the holiday season, which Christmas movies or TV specials on your must-see list? So we had quite a few to get through here. I was kind of surprised Polar Express didn't get at least a little bit of love. But then we have, few for the usual suspects. Die Hard made the list at almost 50%, so I was happy to see that. And then the Charlie Brown Christmas was the top vote getter of our must-see Christmas special list. So
my family watched Die Hard not the pandemic Christmas, the one before. It is a Christmas movie.
Yes. Yeah, my argument is if you've seen, because, an uninvited guest shows up and tries to ruin a Christmas party, have I described the Nutcracker or Die Hard? It's hard to tell. So, all right. So some important dates. Our next meeting will be on March 3rd. Also, we've finally gotten some clarification on the Claris Engage conference that was announced earlier today at a quarterly webinar that Claris is now trying to do, just to let people know the direction of the platform and things like that. It has been moved to October. It's a virtual event this time around. So anybody who was disappointed about not getting to go to San Diego, you can lump me in with that group as well. Really enjoyed the DevCons that have been in San Diego. And there's also going to be a paid and an unpaid registration option. Don't know much about that. What that means exactly, other than just, more details are coming. And then the last date to remember is that the Tom and Jerry movie is going to be available on HBO Max here in February 26th. So mark your calendars for that.
Good to know.
All right. And then for our next meeting, we have a FileMaker show and tell lined up. Scott Kuntz and Thomas Makwa are going to be presenting the topics of their choice. So you want to come back for that. And there will be a meeting survey that'll probably be going out sometime tomorrow. So it's always appreciated if you fill those out. And I think that's all the slides I have. Did anybody else think of anything they wanted to either ask the group or share with the group, or?
I did, Todd. Not 100% exactly what the situation is, but usually happens in the middle of the night. It has to do with validation, where it's usually like on the primary key where it can't be emptied, can't be changed. And somehow I import some files in there where the primary key is not populated. And then I get an infinite loop saying, you can't get out, you can't leave this record because you got to have something in there. Oh, you can't change it because it's prohibited. And then I can't get out of it. And I basically have to force quit FileMaker to get out of it. So I've started taking all that validation off.
My 2 cents is to take the validation off.
Yeah.
What happens if you hit revert record when that happens?
I don't think I can do that.
It's after an import. I don't think it would do any good.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, do you have control over where the data's coming from that you can kind of pre-validate it before you do the import, or is that not really an option?
I'm not, I think when I imported it in, the data didn't have a primary key, and I guess I didn't have the check auto-populate, or I added the primary key to a table that I didn't think I really needed a primary key because it was a temporary table, and then got myself into trouble that way.
Okay.
Now, command period didn't work, or, there was one situation I can't remember that I did get out of it, but I'm not sure what all the validation was on it.
Revert record is always good if you get tangled up in an ODBC transaction that doesn't want to go through and it Hotel California's you.
Did anybody else come up with anything? Okay, well, I guess that's all we have for this month. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
And Chris, just sorry, I saw your registration a little late there, so the email with the link was a little late going out, so I apologize for that.
No worries.
So,
I should be more proactive.
that's okay. Yeah, I mean, probably if I knew somebody that knew how to use Claris Connect, I could have the one thing linked to something else, and it wouldn't have to be a manual process, but it's still a manual process. So, all right.
Cool. Laura, thanks for the invite.
Yep, no problem.
Well, thanks, guys. I'll see you next month.